Hi there, you're tuned to WAACSASBRO on Paranormal UK Radio, PAUKRadio.com. My name is Inna Smith and he's
Michael McCann.
And we're here to tell you all that is weird in Scotland. You can communicate with us via these formal social media platforms. On Twitter, Weirder Podcast. By email at weirderthingspodcast@gmail.com. And it's not Weirder Hings, it's Weirder Things Podcast. And you can also catch us at our Facebook page, Weirder Hings Podcast. And that's quite enough of that. So how you doing? I just thought,
I was wondering why you were giving me that look.
What look?
Right before you launched into it, you gave me a look, and I'm like, what's happening?
You thought it was not the come to bed eyes?
No, it was not. Yep. I'm like, he's up to something. It was just the one eye I could see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot to, do you know what Wakasaspro stands for?
The what?
WCS.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wondrous and almost always Caledonian semi-factual and speculative bullshit radio online.
So, if anything goes tits up, we've got a new name for the podcast.
That's true. Right, so, aye. We did record a couple of shows, but the Ghosts got it, didn't they?
They did. The Ghost was in the machine.
It was.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And we lost 2 episodes, so now we're just going to sit down and record them again.
Oh.
But we'll enjoy it more this time because we know what we're doing.
Like a couple of medicated inpatients.
Yeah, and the medication is coffee.
Right, yeah, that's true. It helps, doesn't it?
It does.
So I hope everyone has been well, and I wonder if they're thinking, what is the paranormal news?
The paranormal news, there's quite a few bits of paranormal news this week. Well,
I think the term is item.
Item, yeah.
Normally people say
an item.
Bits.
A wee bit. So I don't know if this went out on one of the lost ones or if it went out on one of the saved ones, but we discussed how New Zealand scientists were going to stick a big tub of water into Loch Ness and then test the water to see if the water contained DNA from anything that could be the Loch Ness monster.
That's right. That's correct, yes.
So, and then they were going to not secretly, they were going to wait and then release what they found on a documentary on the Discovery Channel.
Presumably the results of what they found in the tub of water.
The results of what, yes.
And not just the tub of water.
Yeah, we found a tub of water.
Some kind of hilarious science student prank.
Yeah, well, the results are in.
Right.
The Loch Ness monster may be a giant eel.
Yep, that's quite plausible.
Do you think so?
Aye, I do. I think that's quite plausible, of all the things it could be. But it's not a new theory, though. That's like that's a really old, respectable, naturalistic explanation for the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah, well, apparently
a large sterile eel.
Yeah, they tested all the stuck scientific instruments into these samples, and
is that what they're calling it?
Yes.
Just going to stick my scientific instrument into this
big tub of water.
Yes, this wet crevice.
And they didn't find anything that plesiosaurus or anything like that stuff. Plesiosaur.
Didn't find any dinosaurs, no.
Didn't find any dinosaurs or anything like that in the water. So it was these New Zealand scientists who came all the way over to Scotland.
Did they bring their own tub?
I'd hope so. I would hope so.
Might just gone to Iceland, bought some ice cream.
But know what I think is going to happen? I think in the not too distant future,
right?
I think New Zealand will suddenly be like, oh, we've got a monster in one of our lakes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I know their game. I think they're over here trying to dismiss our loch monsters, so they can have one in one of their lakes down in New Zealand. I know what they're up to.
Okay, that's a nice idea. So thanks for that news bit. Have you got any more news bits?
They found, I don't know, this isn't really Scotland related, but the Chinese found a weird material on the dark side of the moon. Don't know what it is. It's organic.
Organic?
It's like a weird gel.
Did they have their tub with them?
They went off with
The wee tub?
yeah, and like, found this weird gel on the moon. So apparently there's weird gel stuff on the dark side of the moon, and they don't know what it is. They can't. They've tested it and stuff like that, and they have no idea what it is.
That sounds quite exciting.
It does. It's quite
It
interesting.
sounds quite Lovecraftian.
It does.
sounds
Who
of-
thought it would come down to the Chinese to
Would it be
find-
accurate to call it gelatinous?
It was gelatinous. Yeah. It's like the blob.
Was it amorphous?
I've not seen it. I don't think they've posted any pictures. It's the dark side of the moon, so
There's just no light.
yeah, there's no light.
That's it.
They didn't take a torch.
Oh, imagine that. No room for the torch after the plastic tub.
Mm.
Yeah.
It can only take one or the other.
Yeah, maybe it's a moon eel
Oh, wouldn't that be good?
or a meal, as they're called
Very
for
good.
short. I don't know.
Very good.
Any more paranormal news?
Nothing worth talking about.
I like that. Yeah, nothing worth talking about.
Yeah.
Aye.
We did get an email though,
All right, well that's good news.
and bear with me here because I've not actually read it, so there might be some bleeping.
Okay.
Who sent it? Who sent it? Scott Sweeney. Scott Sweeney.
Hello, Scott Sweeney.
Hello, Scott. Oh, and I think he's from Paisley. That's your neck of the woods.
Some people do come from Paisley.
Yeah, it's been known to happen.
Does.
Right, so Scott has sent us a wee email saying he's been listening since you started.
That's very nice.
That's good.
It's the dedication, that.
That's thanks for sticking about, Scott, because I know from editing these podcasts that it's not an easy listen sometimes.
That's a fair point.
But he's never got round to giving us a couple of stories
Oh,
of strange stuff
that's-
he's seen in the sky.
Oh, cool.
Now, he does live in Paisley,
Yep.
so could be airplanes. Just for the start. We're just putting that out there right away.
For anyone not familiar, is that Glasgow Airport is actually it's more really kind of Paisley Airport. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Glasgow at some point has to face up to the fact it doesn't really have an airport.
I know.
Paisley does.
So does Prestwick, which is also Glasgow Prestwick.
I know.
And it's about 45 miles for Glasgow.
What does Glasgow think it's doing?
I know. We're taking other people's
Airports, yeah.
That's what we're known for.
Yeah.
Right, so Scott has seen some weird things in the sky.
Go.
So, the first one was probably at least 12 years ago.
Right.
Coming back from a St Johnstone game away to St Mirren.
Oh,
wait,
man.
so he might not be from Paisley then? He might be from Perth.
Okay.
Well, we might find. Actually, it says at the bottom, Scott in Perth.
Right.
See, I should have read the email before I started reading it.
No, this is fun this way.
Yeah, so it's Perth in
we're all
Scotland, not Perth in Australia.
We're discovering it together.
Well,
Okay.
it's fun. We're all in this together.
Yep.
Right, so it was an away game to St Mirren when they were still at Old Love Street.
Right.
Are you
okay.
familiar with that?
I'm familiar with Old Love Street, or
Yep.
just Love Street as it's called. Yep.
It was a midweek evening game, and
Old Love Street conjures up delightful images
yes, yeah, Old
of
Love
somewhat
Street. Yeah.
ripe ladies of the night in Paisley Town.
Please tell me that's where they used to hang about, and that's why it got its name. That would be. I'm going to need to look that up.
Not too closely. Do some local research
From a distance.
from a distance. Okay.
It was a midweek evening game and was dark by the time we were heading up the road.
Okay, you sound quite tired. I'm just saying.
Who,
a bit
Scott
more,
or me?
You be a bit more spooky.
Alright, sorry. Hold on, I'm going to take a drink of coffee.
Okay, on you go. Yeah. Okay.
Now it sounds like a podcast.
Are you going to drink some coffee now?
See, you need to do it. It makes it sound like a podcast.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Right. So, it was a midnight evening game,
Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
and it was already dark by the time we had left to go up the road.
What happened to that accent?
I don't know, it was the
It
coffee
started
again. The
off.
coffee went
It
kind
was
of...
very odd. Yeah.
It was. I tried to go Scottish. It's
And then
hard to do that voice, but be Scottish at the same time.
He tried to do it, but it ended up quite Geordie.
Did it tie?
Right, come on, start
Right,
again.
okay,
Come on.
right. So
This man has emailed
Scott
us.
is seen.
He's emailed us.
Yeah,
come
no. But Scott, if he's been listening since the start, should really know better.
on. He should. Right, go.
Right, so it was a midweek evening game, and it was dark by the time we were headed up the road.
Right.
Right. I'll leave the voices to you because you're better at doing the voices. Right. think it was between Cumbernauld and Denny.
That's weird. I was going to talk about Cumbernauld tonight. But anyway, keep
That's
going.
why we're called Weirder Hings.
Right.
Where's Denny?
Denny, it's near Falkirk.
All right, okay. Look. Oh,
Exactly.
Right, okay. There we go. The
Exactly.
penny has dropped.
My granny used to say, "Ach to Denny," which was a joke. We realised that years down the line, my granny always used to say, "Ach to Denny," which is also a joke, was "Get to Falkirk."
Right, okay.
Ach to
right,
Denny.
okay.
See that?
Yeah. I looked out the sunroof. I assume off his car.
Is he driving?
I hope not. And saw what I almost looked like a lighthouse beam on the clouds. Thought I was seeing things, but then kept seeing it, and my dad saw it too. I know you'd sometimes see the lights of planes as they loop over the M8 over Cumbernauld before their final descent into Glasgow. The thing was still visible up to almost Stirling. Have no idea what it was to this day.
Cool.
So you saw a big beam of light in the sky
Yep.
over Denny.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've heard of that before.
Have you?
Yeah,
a big
yeah.
beam of light over Denny?
Actually, fun enough, East Kilbride?
Was it me who told you this story?
No.
Because I saw the big beam of light over East Kilbride as well, and it turns out it was the ice rink.
I know somebody else that's seen such a thing.
Yeah, it's the ice rink used to have.
No, not like that. It was
right,
like
okay.
it was like a beam of light. It was almost like, you
Coming
see
down the way?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
It was like, it's like the searchlight you would see from a helicopter,
Yeah.
but without a helicopter at the end of it.
Right.
So, aye.
Right, okay.
But yeah, Cumbernauld too. Weird people have seen some weird things.
I bet.
Yeah, absolutely. I was in Cumbernauld last night.
Were you?
Aye.
And you made it out.
Do you know what? It was.
I love the way you went aye, as if there's like a war story behind that.
Aye, I made it out fine. Aye, I did. Aye, the buses go in there fast and they get there fast. Aye,
Like, they go fast, they come out faster.
aye, that's it. There's nothing wrong with Cumbernauld, Michael. There's nothing wrong.
I think
We've had quite a few.
lived there
We've
for a
had
while.
quite a few paranormal cases there, Cumbernauld.
Really?
Aye,
I think I've read a few.
it's like
Actually, Cumbernauld.
it's like the Mongolian plateau up there. It's a mystical and magical place, full of otherworldly,
What's it
visitors.
called?
It's called Cumbernauld.
Okay.
Right, keep going.
Second was around 3 years back. See, what do we time jump here?
Yeah.
Sat in the Three Judges pub in Dumbarton Road in
Right.
Partick. So,
Okay, we know where
so
that
we know
is.
that is. Yeah,
that's-
we know where that is.
That's Partick Cross in Glasgow. Yeah,
Yeah. Literally sat down with my first pint. I like his first pint.
it's somewhat apt to the pub's called Three Judges, considering the political news we've had today.
I've not actually seen the news today, so I have no idea what's going on.
3 Scottish judges told Boris Johnson, none of your proroguing Parliament nonsense.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what happens now?
Basically, Scottish law goes to war against English law, and it's just like a legal version of Braveheart, basically.
Yes! Right. So Scott's in the pub with his first pint, brackets, he wasn't pissed.
Right. Yeah.
Looking west down the road. Looked up to see what had... Sorry, I'm struggling. I'm trying to read the email and... because the microphone's in the way. So instead of moving the microphone, I'm trying to duck around it. So he looked down the road west to see what was almost a drone shape, but must have been a good 6 feet across. Only saw the silhouette, and for 2 or 3 seconds. So he only saw the silhouette for 2 or 3 seconds, so didn't get time to make out any features. It was heading north, almost parallel to Byers Road. Could have been a big drone, but it seems odd that it'd be over such a populated area like that. Cheers, Scott and Perth.
Okay, well, the only thing I would say is there actually have been some rather large drones flying about, and I think that some drones are actually, just because my brother's a roads engineer, he's, well, technically a bridges engineer now, how about that, but anyway,
He got promoted.
council, city engineer, basically works for the council, and they've actually had problems with drones floating about, but some of these drones are actually owned by like other official bodies, things like roads and
because they use them now to look at stuff.
Yeah, look at stuff. So yeah, there are more drones in the sky now. If he thinks it's 6 feet across, then it could be one of those drones. Yeah.
Some other more, in fact, just while I'm reading that email, I remembered some more paranormal news, maybe worth talking about. On Sunday, there was a massive sonic boom in Glasgow, and no one knows what caused it.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
There's a recording of it. Someone's security camera caught the audio, but people heard it on the south side, they heard it on the east end, they heard it in the west end, so they seem to hear it right across Glasgow. This massive, it sounds like a big explosion, but people say no, it's a sonic boom. So it's a massive sonic boom in Glasgow on Sunday.
On Sunday?
Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
And no one knows what caused it.
I'm trying to remember where I was on Sunday afternoon. Don't think I heard a massive...
See, I was in the house when it happened and I never heard anything.
No. Interesting, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. A part of the world that's heard lots of noises like that for years has been Italy. Did I say a part of the country?
Yeah,
part of
you
Europe.
did. Yeah.
Part of Europe. And there you go.
We wish it was part of the country.
I'm such a native European. But anyway, Italy. They've had parts of Italy just to hear these massive sonic booms, constantly.
Well, I'll try and find it and play it, right? Because we're talking about is this going to let me do this? It looks like a picture. There's a picture in the sonic boom. Who took a picture of this? See, newspapers, lazy, totally lazy. They took a picture of the security camera instead of... Right, hold on.
Cool.
Quite interesting, that?
Yeah.
Because it does sound like a big explosion, but people were hearing it all over the city, which makes people think, no, it was actually a big sonic boom. So
that's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I found it quite so.
Yeah, it might be part of sort of underlying tectonic plates or stress, or because there's the sort of electromagnetic sort of theory of paranormality that's all about Earth's electrical fields and magnetic fields, and it creates all this weird kind of associated phenomena, lights and sounds and all sorts of weird things. Because near earthquake zones you can hear these sorts of sounds as well. So yeah, interesting. Glasgow, who would thunk it?
Yeah, so we've got stuff happening here. Right, so what are we...
Is that the end of the paranormal news?
I think that's the end of the paranormal news. I think we've got some... Just try to check to see if we've got any... Some people reached out to us on Twitter. But I'm not seeing... Someone asked a kind of interesting question.
Go.
So this is from Seb.
Hey Seb.
One that I've been pondering lately. Why does talking, researching and thinking about the paranormal apparently draw it to a person? Is it just seeing patterns or is it something else?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's an old one. I think the sort of the writer par excellence that wrote about that sort of thing was John A. Keel, and it was the idea that the more you kind of look into something, the more you kind of get sucked into this sort of high strangeness world of weird stuff happening. So yeah, the classic sort of book about that was the Mothman Prophecies. And,
right.
And it just started off as him investigating sort of UFO phenomena for of all magazines. It was Playboy. He went down to that part of America to actually investigate a sort of spate of UFO sightings. And then when he arrived there, it was all about the Mothman sightings, and then got drawn into the other associated weird UFO phenomena, and the Men in Black and all sorts of things, and time slips, and then just some really weird stuff. I mean, it was made into a pretty terrible film with Richard Gere.
It was,
but it's a really great book and with some really nicely creepy bits in it. Yeah. I've got a security guard thing. No, we like security guard We've got a calendar here of security guards in various states of
undress.
of relaxation.
Yeah. So we like to hear
looking at their phones.
Yeah.
Looking at a tablet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reading a magazine.
Yeah. Looking bored.
Boiling a kettle.
night
Night watchman.
We like night watchmen, security guards to tell us their stories because
to tell us their stories. That's
quite
right.
interesting.
Yeah.
So the other morning there, I was going into work and I opened up the door, and one of the images on the wall had fallen off.
Right.
So I went, oh no.
So just a wee sort of background recap is Michael runs a photography gallery.
Yes, I do. I'm not telling you where it is though. It's good advertisement.
Yeah. Because you need a private life too, don't you?
Yeah. It's got to remain private. Away from the celebrity of being a podcaster.
That's it.
I'm always getting papped.
Yeah.
Paparazzi's jumping out, taking pictures of me and stuff. So I picked it up and went, oh no. So it turns out that some of the stuff holding it on it came away. So I was like, so I fixed it and put it back on the wall. So I'm sitting, and one of the security guards come in and says, "Oh, did you get your picture sorted?" And I was like, "I just kind of came off the wall there." And he's like, "Oh, Davey." It's, it's like Davey.
Davy's
Davey,
always
the security guard.
Davy's always, yeah.
He's like, Davey was like, "That's a ghost." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Aye, that's a ghost." He's like, "This place is haunted, you know." I was like, "All right." So I think this is the guy who told me the story about the bridge in Paris randomly.
Right.
He just came up. Remember, he just came up to me randomly. He was looking at the pictures, and one of the photographs had a bridge in it.
Right.
And I went, "You should do a photography exhibition of just bridges." And I was like, "Yep." And then he's like, "There's a bridge in Versailles in Paris, and a woman took a picture of it. She went back the next day, wasn't there? She says to the woman, what happened to that bridge?" She said, that bridge got knocked down about 200 years ago. So there wasn't a bridge there, it was a ghost bridge, she saw. So this is Davy. So Davy is like, aye, that's the ghost in here. So they're like, aye. So the guy's like, aye, Davy. No bother, Davy. It's a ghost. And he's like, aye, see the tower? See you go into the tower and the toilets and turn the light off and take a photo on your phone? Ghost is behind you.
Oh, Davy. You're gold.
Aye.
You're classic.
So I'm dying to get a hold of Davy. I'm like, Davy, come on the podcast, son, and tell us your stories.
Tell us your stories, yeah. That's really interesting though, but the gardens of Versailles are sort of famous for their time slips and ghost experiences.
So Davy knows about this. So Davy's knows a thing or two. So yeah. So Davy.
Well, it's fascinating to know that. I mean, presumably that there's a photograph of a ghost bridge somewhere out there.
Yeah.
Or maybe not.
Yeah. So
maybe
I'm like, oh my god, is my gallery haunted? Is my gallery haunted by an angry ghost that doesn't like this particular photograph? It wasn't a bridge though. So
what was the photograph of?
It was just a street photo.
Oh, well, there you
just go. A person on a bike.
Oh,
cycling down
maybe
Glasgow.
Died.
So it was a Glasgow picture. So.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that sort of tall poppy, self-loathing Glaswegian.
Yeah, get off the wall.
You're taking photographs of bikes.
Yeah. And then I went in another morning, the photo beside it had come down as well.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that's really annoying. I've obviously not hung them up properly.
I was about to say, what did you hang these up with again?
Yeah.
Just spit.
Just
spit.
That'll hold it.
That's it. You just had a macaroni pie, gobbed in the wall and stuck it in. I'll be fine. Right, is that the end of the paranormal news?
That's it. That's the end of the paranormal news.
Well, it was
general chit chat.
It's very general chit chat. So, what are we actually going to talk about this week? I know, Michael. We're going to talk about certain SSPR investigations of locations.
Before we forget, do you want to do a plug just now?
Shall we plug? Okay, plug away, yeah.
No, you plug. It's your plug.
What?
The SSPR.
Oh, yes, the Scottish Society for Psychical Research. We are starting back again, so we have an annual programme. It runs from September, which is this month, from September through to May. And go along. It's the third Thursday of every month, so it's the 19th of September. Our first talk is about non-human intelligences. Ooh. But yeah, for further details, you can find it all on the website, which is thesspr.com. Thesspr.com. Okie dokie. Right, yeah, is that plug okay? Did you enjoy that?
That was beautiful.
Okay, so now we've plugged the SSPR. Let's plunder the research.
Well, I thought it was good that people maybe be able to, since we're going to look at their cases, they may as well be able to pop along.
Yeah. So I don't feel bad about plundering the research because it was my research.
Sorry, I sound a bit distracted. I'm booking flights to Budapest.
What, right now?
Yeah, and I'm trying to kind of do it because it needs to be done right this second.
Right now?
Yeah, so I'm trying to do that and record the podcast at the same time.
Okay.
Oh, the life of an international jet-setting podcaster.
You were right, weren't you? You were right when you were talking about getting papped and being a celebrity.
Yeah.
Right, so basically, so yeah, just very quickly, a lot of the sort of investigations, paranormal investigations that you will see on television are of people with video cameras running around haunted locations late at night and behaving like total fannies. So that is what we try not to do. Although, just for access, if these places are places of business, I'm going to be talking about basically restaurants or inns or pubs, places like that, or places of work. You can't really do that during work hours or office hours with folk wandering about, etc. Other than the fact that they themselves would find your presence troubling, just sitting in the corner staring at them.
Yeah.
And often with a video camera, which can be very alarming.
I don't like people doing that to me when I'm alive, let alone when I'm dead.
Exactly. Well, there you go. So, time to do that is obviously I am at night, and what we tend to do, our effort or attempt is based on trying to replicate a source account. So I go in, I interview people because I want to know what they have experienced in those locations, and then the purpose of bringing in other investigations and holding a vigil there is to try and get our participants to match the same experiences, to corroborate those sorts of experiences. Because the problem is if you know that you're going to spend some time at night in a haunted location, then you're probably going to have a spooky experience, funnily enough.
And
so
maybe spare pair of underpants.
A spare pair of underpants, and or just no underpants.
Yeah,
no
go Winnie the Pooh style.
Yeah, Commando Winnie the Pooh. Just a bunch of naked from the waist down people with video cameras. Aye, that's right. Wandering about, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I got the visual of that. That was quite funny. It got me.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, and you have to, just a top tip, you do have to let the local police know what's happening.
Do you?
Yeah, of course.
So you phone up the police and like, we're going to be wandering, alright, in case they think somebody's broke in.
Aye.
And you're wandering about in your bare arse.
Well, obviously, we don't do that. Just to make it clear, the SSPR has always conducted its investigations fully clothed.
Right, good.
Okay.
What about if you're investigating a nudist colony?
We've never been asked.
But if you were?
Well, presumably we would be investigating nudist colony late at night.
Right.
So I think we would wear. I would wear my clothes. Yeah.
Fair enough.
The point is not to judge.
Yeah.
And I'm not judging them.
But you walk up to
so
a place
they shouldn't
like,
be judging me.
Can you take your shoes off? We've just got new carpets in. Can you take your shoes off? Walk up to them and just like, no, you need to take your clothes off.
Well, many of these places are like that. Yeah. Anyway, that's
so it's just
no. I think these are important issues we need to discuss.
Yeah, I don't think
the
they've been
rules
discussed
of etiquette
enough.
amongst naturists. Yeah,
I don't think they've been discussed enough on paranormal podcasts or weird podcasts.
Yeah, that's right. So the reason we got in touch was because we noticed some things were going missing in the nudist colony.
I didn't know where you were going with this.
Mostly.
Every time I sit down, something disappears.
Mostly fruit, soft fruits. Melons,
my keys, my car keys.
Lots of toiletries. Lots of moisturiser goes missing. Etc. Anyway, aye.
They go up their bum.
What? I thought we were trying to... Listen, I've started...
People might not get our sense of humour.
I have started talking about SSPR cases. You can't just fire in...
Right.
You can't just insert humour like that. This is a respectable organisation, and this
Fair enough.
This is, you know what I mean?
Fair enough. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it is partly my fault because I too enjoyed the Winnie the Pooh idea. Right, enjoyed it.
Okay.
Just as an idea.
Yep.
Not that it would ever happen.
Right.
Right, okay.
Professional.
Yeah, professional, absolutely. Because there is something to be said about some kind of like getting in a psychic defense early amongst the forces of darkness.
Yes.
Because it's going to, spectres are going to be confused.
Yeah. What the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
Why are these people naked?
Yeah, exactly.
From the waist down.
Yeah. Anyway, a spiritualist would say that might attract the wrong sort of energy.
Yeah. And let people. Do you feel that draft? Like, yes.
I do. Oh, I feel cold from the waist down. Right. Anyway, right. So, so what we do is we go late. Now everything sounds like a double entendre. So we go in late at night.
Okay.
Right. And the point is you interview people, you find out what sort of experience they had, you find out where they had it, and the experience, and then you place people throughout the location, and you kind of rotate them, crop rotation on the hour, so everyone gets a chance to be in all the locations, and then what you hopefully have is a nice, at the end of the night, is you ask people to score it, you ask people to talk about what sort of experiences they had, and you can, to some degree, have a scientifically controlled experiment, so you can actually corroborate the original accounts. Now, what I'm going to be talking about is I'm actually going to be talking about cases that we were halfway through the investigation. We interviewed the original witnesses, but for a combination of factors, it just wasn't possible to hold the vigil afterwards. Okay,
right.
So it can often be quite easy to get in and talk to people. When it actually comes to actually arranging an opportunity to get in overnight,
Yeah.
and then actually conduct the actual experiment, we didn't get a chance. But it does mean we did, because the funny thing is, though, is we at least have these interviews, we have these witness accounts, and often what you get is paranormal organisations that go into a haunted location, and they've just got hearsay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've got hearsay. Oh, this is meant to be, and then they regard their own experiences themselves to be evidential, and I wouldn't necessarily think it would. Right. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about. So this is I'm not going to name this. This is a hotel, a sort of an old coaching inn. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you exactly where it is. It's a Lanarkshire town.
Which is in the south of Glasgow.
Right. So Lanarkshire is a county. So this town. It's to the southeast of Glasgow, and basically this hotel is actually dates from the early 19th century, so the early 1800s. Okay,
that's not that old, is it?
Well, you know.
I mean, it's old, but
if there are Americans listening, they'll their minds will be getting blown.
Yeah, there was stuff before.
Oh man, the 1830s, the 1820s, dude, etc. Anyway, but the fact is, it's basically been a coaching inn, and it's basically it's remained in business. Same staff, ancient. No, kidding on, right? So anyway, what was really interesting is that what you often find is in places is that when you actually start to change the structure of the building, you make any building work, renovations, extensions, that can often stir up things and paranormal phenomena increases. What's really interesting is that the sort of the managers who were live-in managers and the staff believed that the renovation calmed things down, which I think really interesting, because that's very unusual.
That's like the opposite of what
the opposite of what you usually hear, so I thought that was quite interesting. Anyway, so what I did is I interviewed essentially the two sort of the couple that sort of managed the place. There were rooms that you could rent, so it's like an inn with a pub downstairs kind of thing, and upstairs rooms people can do whatever they want, and they paid the money. Yeah. I don't judge.
No.
If they want to wander about Winnie the Pooh style, then they can.
It's encouraged.
It's not encouraged, Michael. I just don't judge, right?
Okay, fair enough.
Don't encourage it.
Right, okay.
That's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's making a judgment of another sort.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, if you ran a hotel.
Yeah.
So I hope everything's to your like, and if you want,
feel free
to not wear anything from the belt line down.
Dinner's at 6.
You'll be safe.
Honest.
Nobody'll see you. Right. Anyway, so the first one is a lady who says the following: everything goes missing. Everything goes missing, especially in the kitchen, knives, things like that. And then they'll be there again. You'll go away, come back, and it'll be there. So this is very, very common trope in paranormal accounts of objects disappearing, etc. Also, a guy was staying in room 1, came down one morning for breakfast and asked, "Who's the woman standing at the end of the bed?" There you go, just as you do. One day I was in room 4 when a mirror completely smashed for no reason. Nobody was in the room. The previous owners have seen a lady chopping vegetables in the garden. This would be about 10 years ago. So that's an interesting one.
She was chopping vegetables in the garden?
Oh, sorry. You'll have to forgive me. I meant to say kitchen.
Alright, okay. Alright, okay.
Yeah, so sorry, lady chopping vegetables in the kitchen.
It's nice that they help out though, isn't it?
Yeah. It's true.
Self-useful.
Ghosts, yeah. And then she says, people, members of the public, have seen figures standing in the corner of the dining room and the cocktail bar. So obviously this will come back.
This place sounds fancy.
Yes, dining room and a cocktail bar.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, listen, if you're in Lanarkshire, you need a cocktail bar.
That's true.
It's
Should
true.
we stand? Yeah.
That's it. So this is next witness, a gentleman. One of the first times I was in the bar locking up, and I heard someone say, it's his name, let's just call him Jimmy. That's a good safe name. Heard someone say, "Jimmy," from the back door. So I went up, and there was nobody there. Now that's interesting, because that means they know who he is.
That is interesting.
Yeah. I was doing my till, and we have a jukebox. Now, you can have ones that play on random, but our one doesn't. I was standing there counting my money, and one of the lights up above was flickering. So the light was flickering. Electrical interference, lights flickering, that's a common thing as well. And I said, "Get a break, I can't be bothered. I want to get my till done and get home." Right?
Right.
Okay. Obviously they don't live in the premises then. And then the jukebox came on, and it was ABBA. Money, money, money. So there you go. So I said, "That's fantastic. If you can do something else, can you count my money out too?" So there you go. A little bit of patter.
A little bit of banter with the ghost. I'm going to retell my story that I told the last one that got lost, because I think it's a great story.
We have to stop referring to the lost one, because it's just going to depress people.
Yeah, I'm depressed just saying that.
Yeah, there was a much better episode than this.
I wouldn't agree.
And it died.
I'd say this is better.
Is it?
Yeah, I'd say it's already funnier.
Oh, that's good.
Right. So it's about to get even funnier. Because you'll remember the story, but a few years ago,
right,
my friend was in some sort of accident,
right,
where his face was smashed in, and he had to go to hospital on Easter Sunday morning. Right. So it's Easter Sunday morning, and it was very early. It was like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And there's no one in the hospital, so he got taken into the room to see the nurse. And the hospital radio, I was the only person in the waiting room, and the hospital radio was playing. So
you went with your friend who had an accident with his face?
Yeah, he had an accident with his face.
Okay.
And I was the only person in the waiting room, and the hospital radio was playing, and the song "Don't Fear the Reaper" came on, and started playing. Yeah. And I'm in the waiting room by myself, looking around going, nobody is going to believe this. Like, somebody in hospital radio is playing "Don't Fear the Reaper."
Yeah.
And I thought, that's beautiful.
That is beautiful.
That is beautiful.
That's it.
Yeah, so it happens.
Maybe they just play that in a loop.
Yeah, just constant.
In that hospital, yeah. That's good.
Yeah, but I just thought the hospital DJ was taking the absolute piss.
It could have been. Could have been. But he died 2 years ago.
Oh.
And there was nobody. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And if you take a picture in the dark in the toilets,
that's it.
It turns up behind you.
There's a ghost behind you. So that was it. So I thought that was good. So basically, challenged the ghost. and the ghost responded with a hilarious gag. So that seems to be quite a little psychically nimble.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
It's calling your name. It
Yeah.
knows who you are. It's
Up for lols.
up for lulls. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also stands at the bottom of your bed at night. Not into that.
Well, that was a woman. So
Oh, is this a different ghost?
who knows?
Who knows? Indeed.
knows?
No.
Who knows? And then the gentleman then said, when you're in the office, you can hear people up in the function room. So there's a function room.
This place is super fancy,
It's super fancy, yeah.
and it's upstairs.
Yep. And obviously, one assumes that he's talking about when the function room is empty.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
I
it
hope
wouldn't
so.
be really a
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
Really. So basically, so amongst the local, town, basically the local community, people know that this stuff happens, and basically he says if they have not seen anything, have felt a presence, or have seen shadows. I like that. Shadows. Anyway,
You never want to see a shadow when you're not expecting it.
do you never want to see a shadow when you're not expecting it?
Nah, because I've seen shadows
Have
when
you?
I've not been expecting it.
No,
It's always kind of like, oh, okay.
Okay.
You don't need that wee reminder when your mind's on other things.
Okay, so the next story is it's quite a long one, but I've got it written down here, and I'm gonna inject it with as much late night. Do you know what? Let's pretend that Davey's telling this story.
Right, okay.
Okay, it's got
Okay.
that kind of feel to it, right?
Right, okay.
It's good, right? So basically, this lady, let's call her Mary,
Mary.
right, or Margaret, something like that, right?
Right, okay.
Okay, let's call her Maggie. How about that, eh? Let's call her Maggie. Maggie started working. Is this how Davies speaks?
It's not that deep.
Maggie.
Aye, there, that one, the middle one.
Hey, Maggie. Maggie started working at the Buck's Head in 1997.
He's maybe know that.
Know that?
He's a bit better.
Maggie started working at the Buck's Head in 1987. Her main duties are working behind the bar. Maggie was in the main bar at 12:30 a.m. with a member of staff called Lisa. It was a summer month in 2003. They had locked up after work. They were sitting at a table having a drink. Maggie was facing the street. Lisa had her back to the street and the fireplace. The fireplace was approximately 45 metres away.
It measures in meters.
Aye, Davy does. Maggie saw the apparition appear. You don't really see the face. It's like a black dress, a long dress, high neck, like a frilly shirt, but you can't really see the face to go with it. She walks out of that fireplace as if it was a doorway years ago. And see, when I went to the toilet, she went away because she wouldn't stay here with her. Honestly, every time I went away, she disappeared. When I came back, she came back in. Then there was a sensation of presence and a drop in temperature, which was experienced by both women. Lisa then felt her face being slapped. You felt the presence, then it went awfully cold, and the face went like that. And she went, ow! Her face went red, and you could see the fingerprints. Just prior to being slapped, the topic of conversation was, according to Maggie, work-related. Maggie could not remember any specifics about the conversation. However, her boss added this perspective. She said that she was thinking about getting an exorcism done. That's what I heard anyway. Maggie did say that prior to the slap, Lisa did say, it's awfully cold, there's something in here. Maggie responded, I know, I can see her, she's behind you, but don't worry about it, she's fine. But she fucking wasn't. That's a wee Davy. I just added a wee Davy element there, you know. Maggie then reasserted her conviction that the apparition did not like Lisa. At another time, Maggie was cleaning rooms, making beds, etc., and then turning round before leaving the room and seeing a depression in the middle of the bed as if somebody was sitting there.
Amazing.
Holy shit.
I can actually see Davey telling this story.
Can you? It's good, isn't it? Recently, approximately April 2006, Maggie was alone in the main bar and a glass exploded on the shelf and glass went everywhere. It was a clean, dry glass. She also told of someone staying on the old room 4, which is now room 5. They were wakened with a nosebleed and reaching over in the middle of the night to switch on the light. Before he reached the light switched itself on.
Oh,
That's a helpful spook.
That's
Aye.
oh, it's a light there, man. You've got a nosebleed there.
Do you know,
Get that light for you.
for an experiment, go and reach your and see what happens. Oh, Davey, shut up, Davey, man. You're ruining it. Davey, your patter's shite. Right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that Davey has hijacked this very respectful witness account. Okay.
The SSPR will be very upset.
Very upset. Yep. It's just as well they'll never find out about this.
No, they will not.
Okay. Any SSPR members listen to this. Just keep. I mean, this is what I really should do is anonymise this and put it on the website.
Yes. yeah.
Anonymise this, put it on the website, and then you can read it in its full throbbing glory. The reason why, even though it's a public business, we were invited in, is I cannot attest to that business being in the same hands, basically. So I would need permission, and I don't want to approach and ask if it's not them.
It's a different business. By the way, see the haunting, what haunting? There's a ghost. There's ghosts there.
Ghosts. Anyway, just a few more witnesses here. But anyway, that was Davey telling all that.
Davey's out of order.
He is. He's absolutely out of order. Anyway, so there's quite a few witnesses. So one guy walked in the room and saw feet. I like that. Saw a hand reach over when he was checking a puggy machine. Hears people walking around the room, so he sees limbs, basically.
Disembodied spirit limbs.
Yeah. Another one said, I did see something in the kitchen. I seen a shadowy thing in the kitchen. The porter used to see it. The pens go missing all the time. You get used to it, though. I don't know, though. You know, some days you ask, who was upstairs? And they say, nobody. Nobody.
There was nobody upstairs.
So, another member of staff saw a shadow on the stairs and also a man in one of the rooms. So there you go.
Was the man a ghost or was it just one of the guests?
Presumably it was spectral, otherwise not worth
mentioning. There's a man in the room.
No.
He's
paid money.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
I like Witness 8, who we'll just call Jeremiah. It's not his name. He heard horses, so there you go. So it's an old coaching inn, and you could hear horses out in the courtyard. I like.
Okay.
So yeah, I just want to go back because I think just because Davey kind of hijacked that with his mince patter, but
he's carry on,
right? But there's a lot to unpack in this account from Maggie, and there's a lot of good stuff. I like the fact that I'm going to go back to this wee bit here. You don't really see the face. It's like a black dress, a long dress, high neck like a frilly shirt, but you can't really see the face to go with it. So I just want to just going to riff on this idea that seems to be really common feature of many apparitions, that people do not see a face. Either the face is obscured. There was a very famous haunting investigated by the early, basically, I think it was perhaps one of their first hauntings cases by the SPR down in London, so way back in the 1880s, and it was called the Cheltenham Hauntings, and basically a young lady was actually seen haunting this house. This is a Victorian, I was going to say a Victorian house. It was in the Victorian times, Victorian ages.
We're all Victorian.
We're all Victorian. But yeah, it was this young woman was seen, and she would be seen with a handkerchief holding up in front of her face, which was interesting. But but also there's a lot of stories about headless horsemen, things like that. So you can't see the face. And what's interesting is what we know now about not just psychology but almost like neurology, is that our brains are, the face is such an important aspect of our perceptive repertoire that the brain actually has a separate department to process visual information of faces. And I know that might sound a bit weird, but the reason we know this is true is because, and basically one of the main ways we know anything about neurology or psychology is through brain injuries. And there are people out there that have brain injury in which there's somebody out there that has essentially the part of their brain that can see faces is damaged, so they see everything else in the world apart from people's faces. Their people's faces are a blur, which is crazy when you think about it. But then the other thing is true, in which there's somebody out there, I think it was somebody in a motorbike accident, that the only part of their sort of their perceptive brain department that wasn't trashed was the one that saw faces. So this person basically just sees a grey fog.
Oh, it's just people wandering about in camouflage tracksuits.
Just sees a grey fog, nothing apart from faces. He just sees these faces loom out of nothingness.
That'd be scary.
Which is weird, isn't it?
Yeah, just a big face coming at you. Oh.
Which means he actually could navigate himself around the world if we just put faces in everything.
When you think about it, it's interesting. That is an interesting, because what if ghosts? Some of it could be like the one with the handkerchief. She could have been in an accident. Where her face was damaged. She could be like, "Don't look at my face."
Well, this goes
other things as well.
Yeah, but this goes to
a chameleon circuit.
Yeah, it could be there, but this is what I think is interesting. Is this goes to a theory of apparitions, and they call it like it's like a sort of stage production idea of apparitions. Is basically that whether it's your own subconscious or an external intelligence like a ghost or a deceased spirit or whatever, is basically, that's the information. So that's like a script. But the person that actually puts on the play, the production, is you.
Yeah.
You actually, you're the one with the budget that actually puts on the show. And if you're a full throbbing psychic, you're going to put on a great production, and you're going to see, like all of it, right? Whatever, you're going to see, all the information will be passed on to you. But if you're barely psychic, then you might not see anything, or you might
powerful enough to interpret the information that your brain's seeing.
Yeah, but what I think was really interesting is the whole thing about faces. Is it's that maybe it's just that extra bit of budget cash that our brains don't spend on it. They just go, you can't see it. So it's just, you really can't see the face. It's like a black dress, long dress, blah, 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 but you really can't see the face to go with it. And so I find that fascinating.
I like something I picked up in that time that I didn't pick up the first time was how when she went to the toilet, it would go away.
Now, there has to be a conversation. How would she know that? She has to have discussed this with Lisa, which is like, so basically when she goes, right, I'm away to powder my nose, see you later, Lisa, and then basically sees the ghost just going, right, I'm off.
Right.
And then when she comes back,
the
ghost is not there, and then suddenly the ghost comes back into the room, so presumably that's what's happened.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting. I find that interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe Margaret has got a wee bit of a gift.
Could do. Yeah, exactly. So that's essentially that was one case in this Lanarkshire town. So there you go. And
the tale of the haunted inn.
The haunted inn, and I thank for our guest narrator Davey for.
Thanks, Davey,
for that. How are we for time?
We have got all the time in the world.
We don't really.
No, we don't. We've got 6 minutes.
6 minutes, okay. Well, that's
if you want to keep it to an hour, we've got 6 minutes, but I don't mind if you.
Well, do you know what I'll do? We'll what we'll do is we'll keep going, and I'll do one more, because this is essentially this is another business.
You've got to give the people what they want.
What?
You've got to give the people what they want. They tune in for this. This is
what
they want.
I like to cram it in,
Yeah.
And I'm talking about information there.
Yeah.
So this is a place that is in Argyllshire.
Which is in South Scotland.
It's what?
Is it in South Scotland?
No,
Argyll?
no.
Argyll?
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's west. It's basically sort of. It's not that north. But
Oh
it's
yeah,
northwest,
sorry,
basically.
I'm thinking of the other one.
The other one,
The south, with south.
Galloway. Dumfries and
region.
Galloway.
Yeah, I think I was thinking of there for some reason. I don't know why. It's the coffee's wearing off.
The coffee's wearing off.
Yeah. I don't even know where I live.
Okay, I better keep this.
No, it's fine. Keep going. People love it. They love it.
Okay, do they?
Yeah.
Right.
They keep emailing us, telling us how much they love it.
Oh, jolly good. Right, so here we go. So this is it's somewhere that used to be a church, and when we investigated it back in 2009, it was a restaurant and a sort of a gift craft shop kind of thing. So
In Argyll.
Thereabouts. So
Big place.
so basically, what happened in this one is I was in charge of organising the vigil, but I did not gather the source account.
Right.
A fellow investigator gathered the source account.
So is that common practice that one does one and one does the other, so it don't cross streams, as it will?
Not all the time, but what I will do is if I know what places are spooky, etc.,
Yeah.
I'll go to the location beforehand. I'll mark out all. Let's say I'll put a seat and I'll put a location A, location B, etc. I'll put it all about the place, and then what I'll do is so people get a map, a floor plan.
Right.
So, and then all the locations are clearly marked with and then just say, everyone go and find a location. If you can't find a location, let me know. So they all go on masse just to find everything. Of course, they find everything because they've got a map and everything's obvious. And then I let them, and then we kick off.
Right, okay.
Because just in case there's any subconscious, cues of.
But if they walk into a room and see a chair and they go, right, there's a chair there, this must be a haunted room.
They don't.
Do they know?
No, because the whole point is you gather source accounts. What you ideally want for some kind of statistical fun is at least maybe let's say you have
couple
8,
of duds.
maybe way more than a couple of duds. It's what you want is maybe like 8 or 10 locations, right?
Right.
Because you'll have 8 or 10 investigators,
Right.
Okay, sometimes you can have 12 investigators, whatever, right? But let's just say you have 8 locations. Is what you'll have 2 or 3 locations, and basically the thing is that once you get to, you want something less than 50-50, because then it's a 50-50 guess whether or not,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want something statistical. Is what my preferred sweet spot would be, always roughly 25%, because that would be statistically that's a juicy
number.
It's a juicy sort of threshold of above chance if people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? You definitely don't want it like if half the locations are haunted, then there is literally just a 50-50 chance you can people guess it. So my fellow investigator went and interviewed basically the owner proprietor of this business, which was a cafe, and basically said sound of cat meowing, cutlery moving around, a feeling of presence in the kitchen. The chef noticed that. Lights and kitchen equipment switched back on after having been turned off. So the kitchen seems to be quite an active place.
In general as well.
Yeah, it's very true. Sighting of a blonde girl outside the kitchen. There you go. And this is another one. The owner said that she thought she saw what was one of the staff, a blonde, outside the kitchen entrance, behind a screen which hides the kitchen from the restaurant. So she thought she saw this, but then she was speaking to this person like one assumes on restaurant business, like,
yes,
are the scones ready yet? She doesn't actually say. But then another member of staff goes, "Who are you talking to?" And then she looks back and there's no girl there. There was so yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It also smells ghosts. Feels that someone is in the shop and she's working in the office just off the shop.
So she's in her office and she feels like there's somebody in the shop.
Yeah. So basically, she also tells that there was an American visitor, a tourist, who said that she could hear taps and knocks on doors, and also saw a figure wearing a ragged kilt. The figure then disappeared. So a tourist saw an apparition.
A ragged kilt.
A ragged kilt.
Don't believe her.
You don't
The
believe her?
description of a ragged kilt, just no.
Do you think no self-respecting Highlander would have a ragged kilt?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough.
And plus, didn't he actually wear tartan?
Well, kind of. It's not not necessarily modern tartans, but it would have been something like it. Something like it. Depends how old, you know. Depends how far you go back, Michael. You know. So basically in terms of the experiences, so that was the source accounts, those sorts of experiences, and we went in, and in terms of the sort of correlation between what I do is I ask people to go in these locations and score these locations, and then basically sort of we've got something solid to compare with the source account and that sort of thing.
Is that you go show me your graphs again?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you've got like graphs
So
and
this was a
numbers.
correlation between whether or not the investigators and the sort of this arbitrary score of locations. You can see there's not much of a map. So the
Sounds like you're on there.
Yeah.
That's me. It's just you just got graphs and numbers,
Yeah.
and I just started yawning.
Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah. What I also did though is I hand out questionnaires called the Thalborn's paranormal belief scale, and maybe we should do it. I've done it. I've done it a few times before, but basically it's like an arbitrary. It's like a wee sort of quiz. Do you believe in this? Do you believe in that? And you it's sort of a scale from 0 to 5 sort of thing. And so you end up with sort of an arbitrary scale,
Right.
you know. But you can put a hard and fast number to, you know, how strongly somebody believes in the paranormal or not. And basically, so it meant that because you're actually getting some numbers, is you can compare somebody's paranormal belief scale to how much they will score during a vigil.
Yep.
So how much do they think of something is paranormal compared to how much they believe in the paranormal? And this is where we get these two little spinning dovetailing little graph marks. So there you go. So you can see that there's a strong correlation between belief and experience, which is what generally you would expect. Interesting. That was an interesting one. It was a very beautiful part of the country, and I enjoyed doing that. But it's always interesting, I think, the more you can put hard and fast figures onto something, then the more like science it is, because you're comparing, you know, and ideally that's what you want to do, is you want to compare like with like, apples with apples, and the dream is you not only get somebody to provide you with as detailed as you can source account, you know, the source witness, but then they themselves score each location. So then you're comparing their score with your score, and that's a number. The only thing I have found was somewhat amusing is there was a poltergeist case, and I asked the client, the person who was living in this flat, or for matters of accuracy, was actually in the midst of moving out. At the beginning of the case lasted 2 weeks, and the start of the case was basically, if there was no paranormality here, would you be happy living here? The answer was yes, absolutely. But basically by the end of the case, they'd already decided to move. So
really? So was the poltergeist activity quite bad?
It was very extreme. But it's funny though, because pretty much by the time they decided to move out, there was none.
Right.
It kind of burnt itself out. So we can maybe talk about that another time.
Yeah, because that's interesting.
But I'm talking about that case because I asked this client, gave the client a floor plan of their own flat.
Yeah.
And based on what this person told me,
right,
they said that basically next to this person's bed and basically her son's bedroom were the most paranormal places. So just judging on what this person had told you,
right,
you yourself could probably say, well, I'll put let's say it's a score of 0 to 5, so I'll put a 5 there and a 5 there, and maybe a 4 around that bit, and then some places are like maybe like a 1 or a 2 or something. Yeah. This client basically went 5 everywhere.
Right.
So everything was 5.
Right, okay.
So how they felt about the whole flat?
Yeah.
5.
5.
And even though I was like,
Sorry.
so is there a part of your flat that's like more spooky than other? But yeah, it's the next to the bed and my son's bedroom and the cupboard in my son's bedroom, cupboard in my son, and it was like, and right. So in light of what you've told me, and 5 is the most, and then down a scale, 5 everywhere.
That's
5, and by then you can't really do anything about it, because then it's like you filling in the form. But that in itself was instructive and interesting, that how this client felt about her own property. Was everything was 5.
Haunted. Yeah,
everything was 5. If they could turn the paranormal knob up to 11, they would have done. But yeah, interesting.
I suppose if someone's really experiencing that for the first time, then it is probably going to be really extremely scary for them.
Yeah.
And everything is going to be a 5.
Yeah. It's like, exactly. It's a weird. it's like going into a haunted house, and even though the Clodgy of Doom is where most of the action happens.
Yeah.
If you're sitting watching telly, you're still going to think,
there's a ghost in the toilet. Aye. Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable anywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's going to do us for this episode, isn't it?
I suppose it could.
Come on. People have lives.
They do.
They're doing something.
They do.
They're doing something right now. They're listening. They've got a task.
Yeah.
They're probably grouting or washing up.
Do you know what they should be doing though? They should be emailing us their stories.
Well, email now.
Email now. If you're listening, email us and tell us your stories. Was it Stephen? The guy at the start? Stephen, right. Yeah. He told us. He emailed in.
Yeah, we enjoyed it.
Yeah, we did. What are you waiting for?
Yep.
Take your trousers and your pants off, sit down, and write an email.
Or not.
Or just
you don't
whatever.
have to.
Yeah,
you don't have to. Not on Michael's account. Anyway, so that's fun. And basically, next week, I'll tell you all about a vigil that took place at what used to be an extremely public building.
It was extremely public.
Extremely public. Public.
Oh.
There's an L in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for listening, and get in touch. Twitter, Weirder Podcast, Facebook page, Weirder Hings Podcast, and email us, Weirder Things. That's things, confusingly.
But for some reason, people keep finding my actual email address, which I don't quite know how they're doing that.
Leave Michael alone.
Yeah.
Leave him alone, okay? He deserves a private life away from the glory and the fame of the Weird Things Podcast.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for listening.
Certainly not the money.
It's the money for me.
Yeah, dripping in it.
Dripping. And thank you very much for listening, and come back next time for more
Weirder Hings. Bye.